Well, welcome back to your favorite podcast, Sippin the Dry. My name's Nate, and here we have Parker. Today, Sean will not be with us. He's taking off. It's actually his birthday tomorrow, so he's just doing a little birthday day off. Today we don't really have any in particular topic as we usually do, so we're just going to kind of be, discussion here and there. But I want to kick it off and just kind of ask you, what's kind of new around the shop, and if there's anything you brought to us that you'd like to talk about in that sort of realm.
Yeah, so, we're hitting November 1st here soon. Halloween is Monday. And, we're starting off what we're calling the Real Fly Rod 12 Weeks of Fishmas, which is pretty cool. We started it this past week where, spend a little money, get a little gift certificate, and each week we'll be doing a new promotion or, giveaway. Customers leading up to Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and then obviously through Christmas as well. So putting all that together, I would say, there's going to be some good deals, early on. I would take advantage of those. Black Friday deals are going to be good. I mean, actually our deal right now with the spend 300, get 50 is really good, considering to the Black Friday. Then after that, getting into the Christmas season, which is fun. I enjoy the holiday season. We're being in the retail business, it's a little fast paced,
right?
But we're excited. We've had an okay year. Certainly, the COVID has touched many fly shops differently, and people. I don't think we're getting out as much as they used to during COVID, but I think we're going to remain strong and hope for a good 2023 season.
Yeah. Well, that definitely brings up another topic I had, which was: do you think you could forecast a holiday potential bestseller or bestsellers for fly fishing gear, if you had to guess?
Yeah, so typically what we find, and we'll have this kind of on the website where it'll be kind of like, gifts at 100, gifts at 200, gifts at 300. But typically what we find is, young people get in the sport around Christmas, so they get we have a Real Fly Rod packages where you can get rod, reel, and line, leaders, tippet, basically everything you need to get started. And then we're kind of getting into this new thing where we're going to have these species-specific holiday gift packs where, if you fish trout, we may have like a $150 little package that includes like awesome pliers, some leaders and tippets, a net, that sort of thing. And what we found just for Christmas is people kind of buy for each other, which I think is, the reason, kind of behind Christmas is to,
give gifts to your loved ones.
Yeah, thinking about somebody. And again, this time of year, we don't really see the big high-end stuff sale. We actually see kind of the low to moderate stuff that, kind of gets people into the sport. So it's actually kind of pretty cool. And then what we find is those customers in the springtime come back. And then we kind of get them, they're excited to get out and use their equipment. And then we kind of take them on a journey from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's one of those things where you start out small and you work your way up. Mm-hmm. But I found that fly fishing has a pretty big return customer base. I feel like as soon as someone gets a fly rod in their hand, gets casting, and eventually gets that fish on the fly, they're coming back for more.
Yeah, and what we typically try to tell people is go to your local ponds. I mean, we're in the Midwest, so we have more ponds than maybe most people on the East and West Coast. But try to go somewhere within 5 or 10 minutes, hook a bluegill, get excited, and then I think that's going to carry on into future endeavors. And we typically call it practicing. I mean, you're practicing the art of fly fishing.
Right.
You're never going to perfect it. You're learning stuff all the time. So
that's what got me the bug. When I first was brought on here, Seth took me to his pond and tied on I think it was a micro popper, and he's like, just cast it out there, and here's how you pull it in, and then. 2 seconds later, I got one. I'm like, this is awesome.
We actually found, I was doing some search engine optimization and found that some of our largest searches are for panfish. So panfish rods, panfish reels, panfish lines, bugs, the whole nine, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I started as a kid. So.
Well, that brings up the next question, actually, which was, do you think you could tell us about your first fly rod or your first outfit?
Yeah, so actually, I grew up on a pond, been fishing since I was 3 or 4, fly fishing maybe 5 or 6. My dad had a Diamondback fiberglass rod, which is pretty cool. I think Diamondback is still in production nowadays. So I grew up there, but really the coolest story that I could tell you is I go out to Montana to visit some family. They lived in a little town called Virginia City, that's a little outside of Ennis, which is, I would call it the capital of the West for fly fishing. And when fishing on a regular day on a boat trip, I was probably 11 or 12. And at the end of the day, we're at the boat launch. And me and my dad happened to find a nice sage rod, a nice reel with it. It was actually a Titan Tioga reel and a line. And so that week out, that was kind of the first day of that whole week. We were there for a week and a half. We went into all the shops and we said, here's a business card. If somebody, is asking for the rod and reel contest, give it to them immediately. Certainly I've lost stuff. People have called me or, I've searched around. It's always nice. You never want to steal anybody's stuff.
Right.
But nobody got back to us. And we even said, even a month from now, 2 months from now, they call us. Trust us, I'll ship it to you.
Right.
But that ended up being the rod that I caught so many different species with. So I've had that for 5 or 6 years. It was actually a XP, Sage XP. It was a 6-weight 9-foot. It was I caught bonefish on it. I caught little pompano for saltwater, barracuda, trout, bass, steelhead, sand. I even tried to hook a salmon, about exploded it. It's in my safe right now, and it's not going to get touched again. But that's kind of the story behind kind of really the rod that got me into it. And really, right now I'm on the Sage Pro Elite staff, and it's really cool, like getting your first Sage and then carrying that through. I'm almost hitting 40, so I've been able to keep with the brain with Sage really well. So
that's pretty cool. It's pretty lucky that you found such a versatile rod to be able to all across the board. Speaking of the Sage family, I started out with the Douglas Sky 7-weight.
Yeah.
But quickly from there, I went to a foundation, and then from the foundation graduated up to the R8, and Sage has never disappointed me. It's been great.
They're a great company. Typically, I'm a Sage and Winston guy. I mean, and both are completely different rods. Sage, I think of power, speed, and aggressiveness, and Winston, I think of delicacy and presentation.
Right.
When it really comes down, but Sage has been killing. I mean, those R8 rods. I'm about to go fish a 4-weight 10-foot this weekend and soft tackle swing. It's gonna be great.
I love my 3-weight. I mean, I've pretty much strictly used that rod for the better part of the year since I've had it, or since I got it. Taking up trout fishing up to Michigan definitely, I think, taught me a lesson on how to be patient when fighting a fish, since it's such a lightweight rod and these trout were pretty big. But it was it's a pretty versatile rod, at least for my application, especially when I take it fishing in the creeks.
Yeah.
It's a great rod. I love it.
It's cool.
So I got another question for you. So you said you kind of grew up around outdoors and that kind of stuff. So I wanted to ask, what kind of got you into the sport of fly fishing? Well, I guess I already got the answer to that question, but outdoors, and I know you were a biologist at one point. So what kind of inspired your love for the outdoors?
Yeah. So like I said, fishing as a kid, hunting as a kid. My dad, was an outside guy. He's from South Florida, so we'd always saltwater fish a lot. But that was how he grew up, and so I hope to do that with my kids as well. But it really wasn't until I went to college to be a lawyer. Actually, I went to political science, lawyer sort of thing for a year and a half. And I remember calling old mom, and I was like, "Mom, I think I'm going to be a biologist with a plant genetics degree." And she goes, "Okay." And I was like, "I need you to prep Pops," and she prepped him. And I think my dad called me like 20 minutes later. He goes, "I heard you changing, your major." And I was like, "Yes, sir." And actually it worked out. I actually graduated with a double major, ended up working as a biologist for 10 or 12 years, and then came over here to Real Fly Rod.
What inspired that switch?
I think I just wanted to help. I went to Athens, Ohio University in Athens, and if you've never been there, it's just this little bubble in the middle of nowhere. But the land tract, the nature, the forest, everything around it is just so beautiful. And I was just always outside, and I think I really wanted to conserve what I saw for the next generation, and that's what kind of the whole degree and my previous jobs. I worked at hatcheries and everything. You're kind of conserving stuff for the next generation to enjoy, just like yourself. And I think it's a good way to give back, and that's kind of what I'm trying to look for again, is being in a retail business setting, is how can I also give back.
It's funny you say that. Do you remember Stroud's Run?
Oh yeah.
So for the viewers, and so I go to.
I remember rolling up and they're releasing trout, and there's about 50 dudes on one side and 50 dudes on the other.
I've been wanting to go, but I frequent Athens quite a bit. I'm actually gonna go this weekend for Halloween, but pretty much almost every time I go to Stroud's and sit on the beach, and even if it's cold, I'll get in the water. I like swimming in the cold water, but it's gorgeous over there.
We were just out there and went to go see my buddy who runs a skate shop out there, and when I was out there, we built this big, massive skate park that Tony Hawk actually helped donate, and we actually took the kayaks and fished Stroud's Run and got some bass.
Nice.
And, that lake out there is actually a really nice bass lake. It's kind of deep though because they flooded it back in the day to hold some water. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've only done some fishing over in Stroud's. I've kind of just wet waded out a little bit. Just got little bluegill. Yeah. But I like to go when they stock it with trout. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. And the trout actually remain till the springtime, and I don't think you really even fish them all out.
Mm-hmm.
So.
True. All right, so here's another question for you. Speaking of trout, so I hear they're going to be stocking the Mad River pretty soon here. Is that
Yeah, so I was talking with Tom Allen, who is the president of Trout Unlimited, and he kind of let us know because he's in good communication link with ODNR and the fisheries department out there, and I think they were supposed to stock either this week or next week. So the Mad River, beautiful brown trout river in Ohio, we get our fish, by the hatchery. Unfortunately, with the floods and diversity of the species and stuff like that, it just doesn't hold trout that well. And I would say even they've been trying to really make it where they have certain little creeks and streams that could help spawn, spawn success. But I don't think it's been like 1% or something like that. So we get stocked every year. It's about 12 to 13,000 fish. It's fun. I'd certainly get a lot of clients that call me up and want to go guide. And I think that's the best time. That's how I remember it. As soon as October hit, old man would take me out in Mad River, catch, 10, 15 fish, and go from there. So, yeah, it should be fun for people here shortly.
So we live in the Dayton area, and I would say before I started working here, I had no idea what kind of fishing was even available. I didn't even know we could fish, the river that comes through. Would you have any advice for any people that sort of live in the urban area or an urban scape, how to get into fishing without having to travel so far?
Yeah, I mean, to back up a step, I think, we have one of the best water tables in the United States. Being in Dayton, Ohio, we have so much water, which is a good thing. And I think that, over time, and I'm seeing it now working here, this is my 10th year here at Real Flyward, is that, we're getting more people into smallmouth fishing. So, we're going to be known for warm water, smallmouth, catfish, panfish, largemouth. We have the Mad River for trout. The ODNR, Ohio Department of Natural Resources, they do stock a lot of lakes with rainbow trout. So really, I mean, we kind of get a mix of everything, but we're not blue collar for any, blue ribbon for anything. Mm-hmm. We're just kind of known for just if you are 5-10 minutes from something, go fish it, And I think that that's pretty cool because, we'll get guys in here that catch muscat Caesars, which is getting super popular.
Yeah.
I got a guy that just sent me a photo, one of my best skateboard buddies. He caught, it was like a 34-inch pike on the Great Miami 2 days ago.
Okay.
He was catching saugeye and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's just a lot of different things you can do around here.
Right. I guess it's just a matter of, kind of getting out there and, just throwing a fly in the water and seeing what you get.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole idea with fly fishing is just to get out, fish. And really what I tell clients is, until you catch, and panfish is the best, I think, example is until you can put the fly out there, the fish takes it, you bring them in, it's that whole experience plus the feel of the rod that gets you hooked, line, and sinkered into fly fishing.
Right. Yeah, I've had a couple friends of mine who have wanted to get into fly fishing, and every time, I just say, come by my house. I've got a lake within 2 minutes walking distance, or not a lake, a pond. I'm like, I've got a few rods in the garage. I can teach you how to do it. We should get into it.
Well, now looking at, because I shop for all stuff. I mean, skateboards now are like $80. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we're getting people into fly fishing for, $150, which is awesome. When I was a kid, and you had to spend $300 or $400 or $500 just to kind of get a rod or something like that. They, they didn't have a lot of. They had some cheap rods and stuff like that, but they just weren't as good as they are now. Mm-hmm. I mean, these graphite rods for $100 are, 8 years old, top notch rods to a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, that brings up a good comment. I feel like a lot of people might be kind of afraid to get into the sport, in terms of barrier of entry, price wise and difficulty wise. But at the end of the day, I think it's more so of the love of the outdoors and getting outside, getting some fresh air and some movement, and eventually you're going to get pretty good at it as well.
Well, now getting off the computer, finding a friend. I mean, the nice thing about fishing that I love about it is, people are actually pretty courteous. Some people don't talk to you while on the stream. I actually always say hello, and talk to them for a hot second, because you never know who you're going to meet. It could be the richest man in the world, or richest woman in the world, to just an average guy, just getting out there. And that's what's cool, is there's really no barriers. It's just everybody's fishing the same thing.
Right, right. Yeah, I'm definitely one of those people who like don't talk. Like if I'm out on the trails hiking or like camping, I like do not talk to anyone. But that's just me being antisocial. Here's an interesting one. Would you want to touch on the newest fishing scandal, or those gentlemen?
The walleye guys.
Yeah,
I won't talk too much, but yeah, they get everything coming to them. I mean, you can't. Yeah, when you cheat, you should get punished.
Yeah. I was reading up on that.
I saw the video. Like, the guy's face was hilarious. I mean, and what do you do when you're looking at somebody that's cheating like that? I have no idea. But yeah, I mean, it's a huge thing, and it's just not right. And hopefully that they get what they deserve.
It looks like they're throwing the book at him, like 5 felonies, going on there, and it's just, I don't know. There's going to be people cheating in every sport. But it's funny that just kind of happened in our own backyard, so to say.
Well, and that's, people, and that's what's really cool about being in Ohio is, we have one of the best walleye and steelhead fisheries in probably the world, actually. I mean, there's a couple good walleye lakes out there. There's a couple good steelhead runs, but I mean, our catch per unit effort on each one of those is beyond anybody else. Mm-hmm. And that's really cool. I mean, and I think that's why a lot of people are starting to see the Midwest as what it is. I mean, there's just a lot to do.
Right. Yeah, I tend to see a lot of people like to harp on Ohio and the Midwest in general, saying that there's just not much to do over here. And then us being from the Midwest, we always say, like, there's a ton. Yep. But it's good to see people are starting to switch their tune and realize that the Midwest is actually quite beautiful.
Yep.
There's a ton of stuff to do. So, got anything else to add?
Yeah, I mean, so, just in terms of shop news, we're doing guiding Mad River. So I've kind of turned from smallmouth. Smallmouth is kind of ending right now. It's once the temp gets like 55, it's kind of hard for clients to get them. This is actually the time to get larger ones, because you can really kind of target them. But they get really tough and tough to find. But once you find them, you can really get some larger smallmouth. But Mad River's going to be fishing good. Once we get a couple rains in, it'll pick up, and the Mad never freezes, so you can fish it all year long.
Okay.
In terms of shop, like I said, we're getting into holidays. There's not too much new gear. We got some new Patagonia stuff, which is really cool. We got some new hats, new these
quarter zip.
Yeah, quarter zip Fitzroy stuff, which is really sweet. Yeah, I mean, we're just, I'm excited for the holidays.
I think we all are. Looking forward to hopefully a busy season.
Yeah, and hopefully, we can all get out as a crew and, do some fishing too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Parker, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure. Yeah, next time we'll get back Sean the host and go from there.
Yeah, hopefully I was able to make him proud.
Oh, I bet you did.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. This has been another episode of Sippin' the Dry. Don't forget to follow us on our socials. Our Instagram, TikTok will be in the description, and visit our website. Thanks for joining us.